For this project, we're going to be drawing in one-point perspective, similar to what we did for the aquarium, where everything in the picture feels like it's going to one point in the drawing. Now for our drawings here at school, we are using a 10 by 10 piece of paper. If you're at home, you can use any size of paper you'd like, but you do need to think with even numbers for the sides. So 6 by 6, 8 by 8, 10 by 10, 12 by 12, something like that. What you need to do then, once you have your paper, is you need to draw from corner to corner. And our rulers don't reach the whole way, so I have cut some poster board to act as a straight edge. Now, for this project, you need to be neat. You have to be precise. It can't kind of be in the corner. It needs to be in the corner. So be careful that you line up things neatly, and you take your time and line things up before you draw. After you get it lined up, then draw your line. After you have drawn those two lines, where they intersect shows you the middle of the square, and you're just going to put a small dot. Now I am pushing hard because I want the camera to pick up my drawing. You should draw as lightly as possible when you're doing this project. Now the next thing we need to do is some measuring. We are going to mark off inch markings all the way around the square. Just to review about rulers, remember that some rulers, the 0 starts at the edge. Now it doesn't say 0, you just presume that 0 is there. So you start with this right at the edge of your paper if you have a ruler like this. Some rulers make the inch mark in just a little bit from the edge. So it's important that when you lay this down that you line up the 0 marking with the edge of your paper. Otherwise, you're going to be off in all of your measurements. So you'll lay your ruler along the edge and just leave a little bit of space, and you're going to very neatly mark each inch. Remember, the inch is the longest line there by the numbers. And after you do one side, you'll turn it and mark the next side, and then stop, turn it, and do all 4 sides. Now I'm going to pause my recording and finish doing my markings. I'd like you to pause the video and mark the 4 sides of your paper. Now you should have inch markings on every side of your square. Now for this next step, we are going to divide up each one of these triangles. And the way you do that is you line up your ruler with the inch mark on this side and the inch mark on this side. And only in this triangle right here, we're only looking at this piece. It's the only place we're going to draw for now. You are going to line your ruler up with those 2 marks, but you're only going to draw inside of that triangle, like that. See how I stopped when I came to the line? If you went too far, just erase it. Then you're going to go down and do the second one. And then you go down and do the third one. And go down and do the 4th one. And it should look like that. You've only marked in that one side. Then I want you to turn your paper all the way over to the opposite triangle and do the same thing. There's one. I scooch it down. I'm only marking inside the one triangle. I'm not crossing the line. After you do that, then I want you to line up the end of this line with the end of this line. The reason we're not using the inch markings is sometimes things might get a little off, and it's actually better to line it up by just lining up the ends of these two lines and connecting. See how I did that? I just connected from there to there. I'm not paying attention to my markings. I need those in a minute, but I don't need them right now. Connect those two. Scooch down, connect the next two ends, scoot it down, and connect the next two ends. And then you turn it around and do the same thing on the other side. Connect the two ends. And again, it's important that you're precise with this. By connecting these ends, it makes up any difference there might be if things weren't measured exactly or if the paper's not perfectly cut. So when you're done, you should have something that looks like this with a bunch of squares heading to the middle. So I'm going to pause the recording again. You can catch up to this point. So you hit your video on to pause, and then when you're done, hit play again, and we'll go on from here. So hopefully now your paper looks like this. Now the next thing that you're going to do is you are going to connect each one of these little marks to the vanishing point. Again, you need to be really careful, and it helps to have either a mechanical pencil or a really sharp pencil when you're doing this step. Again, draw lightly. Going to go to the next dot, connect it, turn my ruler, and I'm just going to keep going until every single one of those has been connected. Please be neat. You need to get to that vanishing point. Again, draw lightly because you will be doing some erasing. And it always looks nicer if you can erase and your lines don't show. And you can see that I've drawn a line from each mark to the vanishing point in this triangle. Now I'm going to turn and do the same thing all the way around. So I will hit pause and finish mine. You hit pause and finish yours, and then hit play when you're ready to go on to the next step. Once you have drawn all of those lines leading to the vanishing point, in this very small square here in the middle, pardon me, you need to erase all of those lines. So you'll just have a plain square there in the center. I'm using a large eraser to get most of it, and then I'll go back with my small eraser and just kind of clean it up. So for this first step, this is what you should have. 4 squares with lines leading to the center plane square. So go ahead and get to this point and then watch the second video to see how we're going to add color.